Today we're going to take a look at the Quadrone Tumbler Cam. This quad fits into the category of what I would call impulse buy. I have to give a lot of credit to the marketing people at Quadrone because they must have cut some kind of deal with a lot of these big box stores, because this thing was everywhere during the holidays. I mean, you couldn't go into a store without seeing this display. And so I picked one up. I paid $39 for it. Yeah, a couple of days later it was $29, but I paid $39 for it. And you know, when I saw the thing and I was sitting there reading about it, I was like, why am I going to buy this? But it was just like I said, it's just an impulse buy. So I just picked it up. You know, it's really not that good, but I picked it up anyway. But they sold a crap ton of these things. Believe me, these things were just flying out of that display case. Every day I would go there, and it would be half of them gone. Go back there the next day, there'd be a new display case up there. So they really made a ton of money off of this thing. So they did a good job with that. It'd have been nicer if it would have been a nicer quad, but hey, it is what it is. Let me show you what they give you. They give you the quad. You get a 500 milliamp hour battery. The transmitter, which is actually laid out pretty nice for these types of transmitters. It has all the buttons on there. They're pretty much labeled. They only have one word on the shoulder buttons, even though it has two functions to it. You got the photo button here, the video button here, so it's not one of them long press, short press deals. It has its own separate button. The light control is up on this button here, and then if you hold that one in, it has the headless mode. And then this side here is the flip button, which the flips do work pretty good, but you just have to have it up in the air a little bit. And the other one is the long press on this is the return to China button. It's return to home button, but I call it return to China because it never returns home. It always wants to return to China. And then you have your trims on here. And then your power thing right here. Oh, and then your rates are right here. It has 3 rates. And that's in the middle right there, the little red deal. They give you the old crappy screwdriver. A reader. They give you a card, a 4 gigabyte card. It goes in here. And it goes in right side up. It just snaps on in there. The video is 640 by 480. So it's not the greatest video, but you know, it is what it is. Then they give you this little USB charger. It's a proprietary charger. It has the shut-off circuitry built into the plug. This one, when you plug it in, the light's red when you plug it in. And then when you plug the battery into it, the light will go out. And then when the battery's done, it'll turn back red. That's how that works. Then they give you an extra set of props, which I've never had to change. So let me get to the good point of this thing. This thing is virtually indestructible. I have wrecked this thing because it flies so crappy. I have wrecked this thing at least 100 times. At least. And I'm talking from some mighty heights. I'm talking 80 feet, 100 feet, crashing into trees, and tumbling to the ground. And I've never even broke a prop. There's a couple of scuffs on the prop, but there's no damage to any of these. These are the original props that they put on, because the original props have this warning sticker, or not sticker, but it's a printing, silver printing on here. They have this little warning sticker on there. But the spares don't have that. They don't have that little warning label on the props. So, and to put the props on, the screw is right inside there. Right inside there is the screw. And you just follow the arrows to the replacement props that you need to change. But I highly doubt that you ever have to change one because, like I said, this thing is basically indestructible. I mean, seriously. I have wrecked this thing so many times that I can't even believe it myself. And it just doesn't get damaged at all. It just goes right back up and keeps on going. Now, let me get to the bad part of this thing. The bad part of this quad is that it has one of the most sensitive throttles I have ever seen on any quad, ever. This thing, if you just touch it, just a little hair, it'll rocket off into outer space. It just has no, give to it. It just wants to go as soon as you touch it. It just takes off for the hills. So it takes a lot of getting used to with this throttle. Now I'll put a video at the end where I was trying to spin it around in here in the living room, and you'll see the quad just keeps going up and down because you're in these close quarters. It's hard to try to hold that thing steady because you just touch that throttle just the slightest bit and it wants to rocket right to the ceiling. So it's very hard to, outside it's a little easier to deal with. You got a little bit more room. But when you only have the 10-foot ceiling or 9-foot ceiling, it's pretty hard to control the height of this thing in a confined area like that. They also give you a set of prop guards with this, but I threw them in the garbage because prop guards are garbage to me, so I pitched those things out. Okay, but other than that, I mean, it flies okay for what it is. You just got to get used to that throttle. I mean, that's the whole thing. You got to get used to the throttle. You can throw it in the headless mode, and at least you'll be able to have a little bit more time to figure out how to work the throttle while it's in the headless mode. That way, you won't have to worry about your direction and all that crap. You can worry about playing around with the throttle and getting the feel of that because it's ultra sensitive, and that's the bad part about it. Okay, the battery just slips right in here in the back, and it's one of those, one of them deals where you got to jam it in there and fart around with it, and it's kind of hard to get it in there. It's a little bit wonky, but you plug it up, get it in there like that. There it goes. Jam the wires in, and then it's one of these, fit it in the little slot for the camera, push down on it and then push in, and it'll lock it in like that. And you can take the camera off if you want. You can disconnect it if you don't want to use it. And I don't know how much battery this camera would use. It's maybe going to take 20 seconds off your flight time for running the video. I don't really think it does a whole lot as far as that goes. Then you just turn on that, you bind it up, and there you go. And I'm not going to fly it off this bar because it'll go right to that bulkhead in about a microsecond. But I will turn it on so you can see it spinning. And basically that's about it. This is a pretty simple deal. It's great for a kid. This is great for a kid as like a beginner or a starter quad because it's indestructible. I mean, I could just take this thing and throw it across the room, slam it off the sliding glass window, and it ain't going to do jack to it. It's just going to go back to the ground and keep on ticking. Oh, let me show you one more thing on here. If you want to reset the compass there, you just hold the sticks down and out, and that's it. And then it'll do it. The lights will flash for a few seconds, and then they'll stop. And then when you hit the record button on the video, the light will also flash while it's recording the video. So just so you know that, so you think there's because that's what the low battery warning is, the same thing as the lights flashing. So when you have the video recording and then the low battery warning tries to interrupt in there because the lights are already flashing, so then it's you're not going to know if it's the low battery warning or it's the video. So, but that's just the way it is. I don't know why well, I know why they do it. They put the lights flashing on the video so you know the video's recording. If they don't do that, they could just put a beep on there to let you know it's doing that. They could just do a one beep type thing to let you know that the video's working, but they decided to go with the lights flashing, so then you really don't know when the battery's going bad. But you'll know because it'll drop. You'll give it throttle, nothing will happen, so you know right then that the video's going, or the battery's dying out. It'll just start slowly dropping. You'll give it throttle, nothing will happen, so you'll know that the battery's dead. This thing will last about 5 minutes. I'll give it about 5 minutes. Yeah, you get about 5 minutes flight time with this, and it takes about an hour and a half to charge the battery, because the battery, when you're charging it with this USB plug, it only seems to want to work on the 1 amp. If you try to put it into like a 2.5 amp or 2.1 amp tablet charger, it doesn't want to work. So I think the circuitry is set up to where it'll only work on a 1 amp type charger. So, well, other than that, that's it. Get one for the kids if you want, and they can tear it all to hell, and they'll keep going with it because it never seems to want to die. No matter how many hundreds of times I smashed this thing up or crashed it, it doesn't have a crack in the frame or anything, and it still has the original props on there. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.